Hello and welcome to another goddamn Blu-ray update video, and this is part of and in conjunction with Asian Cinema Season 2, which has just launched on my channel. So, given the fact that at least 10 times more people watch my Blu-ray update videos than any of my other videos on average, I thought I would take this opportunity to do something I rarely do, and that's plug my own shit. So, please go check out the trailer for my Asian Cinema Season 2 project. It's 2 minutes featuring clips from a lot of the films that will be covered over the next 6 weeks on my channel. I spent a lot of time on it and was really happy with the result. So go check that out, and in general, just keep your eyes peeled on the channel. I'll be doing some playlists as well for some of the individual series like the Bruce Lee Legend, Project Jackie, Naoko Ogigami Retrospective, and so on. And then also Asian Cinema Season 2 as a whole, 6 weeks of reviews and videos on films from the continent of Asia. And I'll probably be doing like a kind of ongoing letterboxed. I'll leave that one in for free. A letterboxed list. A letterboxed list. Yeah, I'll leave that one in for double free as well. I'm getting all flustered. I had to film this video all over again, which is just fantastic. So I'll try not to repeat myself, but then that doesn't matter because you're not going to be seeing the one I filmed last night that turned out dog shit. So I can repeat myself all I want. It doesn't matter to you. It just means I'm going to be boring myself for the next 30 minutes with this ginormous Blu-ray update video. This is like an accumulation of a couple of months, actually. There's some things I'd forgotten about, a lot of Poundland things, and some incredible deals. There's 2 box sets in here that just, wow, I can't believe I got them for the price that I did. There's a really special film in there for me. There's some Asian films to kind of tie in with Asian cinema season itself, and a few other things in between. So let's dive right in with it and start with this incredible stack of Blu-rays. And I do think this is kind of me kind of realizing, man, I need to really calm down the spending. I think it's not that I can't afford it, it's just that it's so easy to get carried away. It's a sickness, I tell you, and the Blu-ray condition continues to plague me, but I definitely need to prioritize, I think. But I'm very happy with the things that I've got, and some of them were kind of unexpected things and things that I just had to get on release, which I'll explain when I get to them. So first of all, we have, and I was going to do I was thinking of separating this into a few videos because I did go to FOP. And I was thinking like doing the revenge of FOP. I was in London over the weekend and had a great weekend, in fact. But I had to go to FOP. You know, I was like, oh, it's within tube distance. So on my last day in London, I did go and pop into the old faithful FOP, and there were a few things in there. The first of which is a DVD, and it is Twin Peaks Season 1. This is the original DVD release. I'm sure this has been repackaged from when it first came out, of course, but it was on sale for £4, and I took it up to the counter, and the woman was like, oh, have you not seen? And I was like, yep, I've seen Twin Peaks. I have the box set, but this has the audio commentaries, which aren't on any other release. And she kind of just went, okay. And it was a very awkward exchange. I was like, hey, I'm a completist. And she's like, okay. I don't know. Surely if you work in FOP, you'd be accustomed to kind of people being weird completionists and talking about special features, but apparently not. So this does include audio commentaries on I think all of the episodes, and it's mainly like some of the writers and directors. There's no David Lynch or cast involvement on these. And there is a new Twin Peaks box set coming out at the end of the year, Twin Peaks from Z to A, which I'll probably do a separate video on after Asian Cinema Season because I want to talk about that box set a lot. But that won't include these commentaries either. So for completeness sake, I want to get it. I do have Season 1 on DVD, technically with the audio commentaries. I got like I showed it in a previous update. It was like a really nice deluxe edition of the original DVD release. I've just realized I've trapped Lily in the room because she was underneath the sofa. So I'm going to have to let her out and then continue my thoughts. Okay, so I was kind of distracted there by Lily. Yes, so where was I going with this? The commentaries. Yeah, I have like a deluxe edition of this that I bought from a charity shop, but it was missing some of the discs. So I now have them. 4-disc set with the audio commentary. So now on to some high definition. These are a few things I got from HMV maybe 2 months ago, I think, and they've got like a new 2 for £13 deal as opposed to the 5 for £30 deal. So I think it works out 2 Blu-rays for £6.50, which is a little bit more pricey than the 5 for £30, but you can buy less, which is good. So I got 4 things, I think. And the first one is a film from Yorgos Lanthimos, who I am really intrigued to check out more from after The Favourite this year, which I think is a phenomenal film. And I've also been kind of turned on to Rachel Weisz as an actress in recent years, particularly in Disobedience and, of course, The Favourite. This is The Lobster, also starring Colin Farrell. And this is a fantasy film, as far as I'm aware. It's about people who are single and they get kind of arrested and transferred to something called the hotel, and they have to find like a mate within a certain period of time, otherwise they're turned into an animal of their choosing and released into the woods. So a very intriguing concept. I love that artwork, really, really cool. Very nice, kind of minimalist, and kind of ruined by all the text all over the place. It's literally just like quotes and ratings and like every cast member, you know, but it looks like a really good... Oh, Olivia Colman's in this. I did not know that. John C. Reilly, Michael Smiley, Leah Siddow. Wow, this is an incredible cast. I'm now much more intrigued to check it out than I was before. The next one is a favorite film of mine. I think this is one of the best films of the decade and just a phenomenal thriller. I should have bought it far sooner, but it's a film I want to leave like years before I watch it each time because it has such a power to it. I've seen it twice now and it registers just as hard as it did the first time, even though you know what's going to happen. And it's an incredible thriller called Prisoners, which was directed by, I think, one of the best filmmakers working today, Denis Villeneuve, who is just nailing it right now. He's just making like masterpiece after masterpiece, not to be too, over the top about it, but I really do think Blade Runner 2049, Arrival, Prisoners are just knockout movies. Enemy was really good, but yeah, this is just a fantastic film about a man whose daughter goes missing and the detective who's trying to find her, played by Jake Gyllenhaal. Hugh Jackman plays the father. They both give incredible performances, and this film really clued me into how great Jake Gyllenhaal is. Actually, he's one of my favorite actors now, and he's just incredible in that film. It's a brilliant mystery thriller. This is a film I've never seen before. It is Schindler's List. Really nice kind of like textured slipcover here. It's a 2-disc 25th anniversary edition with boatloads of special features, but really it's just a film I need to see. I know that it's not going to be a fun watch. There's no way it would be, you know, but from what I hear from people, it's a bit of a slog because it's like, I think 3 hours plus, but that's not a bad thing. You know, I'm all in for long movies, but obviously a very kind of hard-hitting subject matter. And I think a real key film from Spielberg's filmography that I've never seen yet. So I'm sure it's in the 1001 Movies book, so you'll probably see me review it at some point in the future. But it was just one of those things that I need to see it. I really do need to see it. This is one of my favorite films of all time, so I really had to pick it up. It also stars one of my favorite actors of all time, and an actress who I'm really becoming more and more of a fan of recently. The actor and actress in question being Bill Murray and Andie MacDowell in the incredible Groundhog Day, directed by Harold Ramis. Love this film. And then finally from HMV, I also got a film that it's one of my favorite films of all time, stars one of my favorite actors of all time, and an actress who I'm really becoming more of a fan of actually recently, and it is Groundhog Day, the awesome Groundhog Day, directed by Harold Ramis. So, is it Groundhog? The fuck? Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day. Fuck, is it... Deja vu. What? Next we have some stuff from Poundland. You know, you kind of get sucked into it again. It seems like Poundland are getting more of a resurgence of quality titles, and to segue perfectly into that, we have Adam Sandler's Click. This is a film I've never seen before, but I have a kind of interesting memory about this film. I frequently take the megabus from Cardiff to London and vice versa. I've taken that trip literally hundreds of times over the past 14 years, And the only time out of all those hundreds of trips that there's been an actual TV screen and DVD player on a megabus, it was showing Click, starring Adam Sandler. And so I've seen about 20 minutes of this without the sound while going over the Severn Bridge. And so I was always intrigued, like, I need to kind of check that out like properly when I get home. Never did. Here's my opportunity. It also stars Christopher Walken. I don't hate Adam Sandler, but I'm certainly not a fan. He can kind of work for me sometimes. Also Kate Beckinsale. You know, I'm sure it's just going to be a fun movie. So £2, I thought I would give it a shot. Certainly just a film to put on when you just want something nice and light. And to, well, I'm not sure if this kind of transitions, you know, with an interesting contrast to this film, because I've never seen it before. But we have T2, not Judgment Day, Trainspotting 2. From Danny, but did Danny Boyle do this? Yeah, he did. Danny Boyle directed this. That's really cool. I know Graham from Man v Film was a big fan of this, and actually rated it his favorite film of 2017, which seemed bizarre and crazy to me, especially considering the bad reviews this film got, or the middling reviews at least. But I'm really intrigued to check it out. And, you know, this is like came out a couple of years ago, nice slipcover, you know, debossed and everything. So Poundland are really kind of getting some interesting titles in, which is really cool. So I've seen the original, but I need to revisit it because it's been many, many years, and then I'll get to this in due course. I mean, you know, Danny Boyle, Ewan McGregor, I'm already on board, but, you know, I do really like the original from memory, so there's just kind of, I need to kind of rewatch it again and check it out. Here's a really ridiculous purchase. I can't believe I've done this. You know, I can't believe you've done this. Name that video if you've seen it. Because I already have it, and I'm not even a big fan of it, so I'm like double dipping on stuff now that I don't even like, but I like it. It's enjoyable. It's Minions 3D. So this has a lenticular slipcover. It's just a really nice slipcover. Again, it's a sickness, this Blu-ray condition. It cannot be helped. I did very stupidly get this for the Michael Keaton collection. He does appear in this film very briefly, and I've mentioned it before, but in 2013 I did a month-long series called Michael Keaton Month, where I watched and reviewed every film that Michael Keaton had been in up until that point. He's my favorite actor of all time. And honestly, I would like to own every single one of those films, if not because they're great films, but because I love that month I spent, or 2-3 months I spent watching all those films and making those videos. It was a really special time to me. And so this wasn't a part of that, but I want to own every film that he's appeared in. So and this is just a nicer version of the regular edition with the 3D disc as well as the regular disc and a nice slipcover. So I'll sell the other one and be done with it. But I did like Minions. It was pretty fun. This is one of my favorite films. Yeah, this is one of my favorite films, and I already own it again. So we're going hard in on the double dipping, unfortunately. But it is Boyhood, Richard Linklater's masterpiece. Yes. Did you know it was filmed over 12 years? I bet you didn't know that. Yeah, it was filmed over 12 years. That's the only reason to watch this film. Love this film. I still haven't seen it since it came out 5 years ago. That needs to be a project for me to rewatch this. Maybe I'll hate it when I watch it again. Who knows? But I fell in love with this film. And I have the Criterion with all the extras and good stuff, but the Criterion is Region A, so I wanted this just to kind of throw into the PS4 if I ever want to watch it without having to drag out the Region Free player and set it up and everything, or if I'm going somewhere, I want to show it to someone who hasn't got a Region Free player, this is a good kind of option. I always wanted to get this regular release. I think there's maybe like a 3-minute featurette on it, so it's nothing to do with extras even, but just have the regular edition is something I want to do and add to my collection. Oh, and this is actually a legitimate Poundland release that's not even from Poundland. This actually only cost £1, yeah. So we had the resurgence of Poundland titles last year, and then suddenly they just jacked up in price to £2, which is still pretty damn good, but I think clearly they've roped this in. They got a lot of Blu-ray stock, and then they kind of pulled it back, and then they jacked up the price to £2, and now they're bringing all the stock back in. But this is a film that I've been intrigued to check out for quite a while. It came out in 2012. That was a period where me and Connie, when she first moved to Wales to live with me, and we both had the unlimited cards and we were going to the cinema a lot. I saw this advertised. We never went to see it. It's a stop motion film from Aardman, who I think are incredible. I haven't seen a single Wallace and Gromit film, so I don't even know how I can lay claim to them being incredible. But I remember Shaun the Sheep, the movie, just being an unbelievable delight and such a surprise. And this is the pirates in an adventure with scientists, with a nice little slipcover. I did see this in a Poundland actually, maybe a year ago, and I just thought, I'm not sure. But I do love animation, I love stop motion, so I definitely want to check it out. And it was in a shop called Pound or Less, I think. So it's like bootleg version of Poundland, which is already like a bootleg shop to begin with. A couple more, we have The Social Network. Phenomenal film, and this is like a really good deal because this is the 2-disc collector's edition with all the special features, a feature-length making of, 2 audio commentaries. Fincher's films usually gets... And now Lily is coming back in. Fincher's films usually get really good special features anyway, so this is kind of a standard. It's not like it's a real collector's edition, but definitely a film that surprised me. I did a review of it for the 1001 Movies series, and it's really, really good. Like, I wasn't expecting it. David Fincher directing a Facebook movie, and it turns out quite incredible, and kind of goes against the films that he usually kind of involves himself in, usually these kind of dark thrillers, crime movies, and so on. 2 more from Poundland. We have Fast and Furious 7, or Furious 7, I believe it was called when it came out in certain countries. It seems with these fast movies, they kind of have gimmicky titles that are only in some countries. So, I guess just call it Fast and Furious 7. Haven't seen it since it came out. Absolutely adored it. Probably because of the last, 4 minutes. I think that the ending of this film is tragically beautiful. I mean, the way they sent this off was absolutely stunning. They should have drawn a line under it there, I think. You know, when Vin Diesel said this film is for Paul Walker, it was really nice. And then they did Fast and Furious 8, and he said, this one's from Paul. And it's like, okay. And it just wasn't very good, you know? But this one was pretty epic. I think 5, 6, and 7 are kind of like the sweet spot for this franchise. I did enjoy the first one very much. Went to see it in the cinema when it came out. 2, not so much. 3's pretty good. 4's decent. 5's great. 6 is really good. And this one's pretty damn good too. But I do think the ending for this and the way they were able to kind of pay tribute to Paul Walker was really just beautiful. So I did want to pick it up and own it for that reason, but I don't really foresee myself buying the 8th movie because I don't know why I'd even want to watch it again. Not that it's terrible, it just, just wasn't great. And then finally we have a film that I'll love, apparently. He'll love it. Bit sexist there, Poundland? No, I think this is just like an old... See, they call these films, these Blu-rays replay, pre-owned and fully refurbished, but they have like the original Blu-ray stickers on them, so they're brand new. They really are. They just call them pre-owned for some reason. I mean, I'm sure some of them are pre-owned, but you just see all the hallmarks of a Blu-ray that hasn't never been opened. Like, you'll see like the original PS3 will play on a PlayStation 3 stickers from like 10 plus years ago. Anyway, it is District 9. Neil Blomkamp's first feature film, I think, as a director. Really great sci-fi film. It's been many years since I saw it. I watched it for the 1001 Movies series and just never made the video, so I need to kind of freshen up on it because there are a few details I've forgotten, but it's a really great film and definitely one I wanted to own, and for £2, couldn't say no to it. There is a making-of documentary and a commentary, so it's good for the special features as well. Now we get to FOP. Now we get to the revenge of FOP. There's 6 films here. Okay, so I bought 6 films in FOP, and they're all Asian films, so that kind of ties in with Asian Cinema Season 2 quite nicely. And then there's another box set of Japanese films, so we're now getting into that kind of section now. This one I'm so happy to finally have and add to my collection and to complete a certain collection as well. This is Ocean Waves. I don't know who directed this, actually. A film by Tomomi Mochizuki. The text is really small on the back there, and on the front it's covered by the sticker. So this is, I believe, a TV movie from Studio Ghibli. I think they had some of the staff. I mean, obviously the staff works on the movies, but I think it's like people in training. I don't know. This isn't like from, any of the Miyazakis or, Goro Miyazaki or Hayao Miyazaki, and not Takahata. So yeah, I don't know. I think this is one of those ones that they did in the 90s, I want to say, 1993. So maybe this was like a test run to see if any of these younger kind of animators and directors could kind of step up a bit. I'm not too sure. I might be making that up completely. That's the impression that I got from reading up on this film very briefly a while ago. But I've been looking for this for a while, Every time I go into Cardiff HMV, I look for this with a nice slipcover, and it's always like dented and ripped on the sides. And so again, the Blu-ray condition comes out and tells me not to buy it because the slipcover isn't in good condition. But I went to FOP and I thought, oh, do they have Ocean Waves with a good slipcover? And it turns out, indeed, they do. So this is the final piece of my Studio Ghibli puzzle. I'd love to have all the Japanese releases, but it's never going to happen unless I win the lottery. So for now, my Ghibli collection is complete, which is kind of sad at the same time as being really cool because, you know, I kind of would like to live my life perpetually in a state of still having many Studio Ghibli films to watch for the very first time, but my journey is reaching its close. There's still a few I haven't seen, including Ocean Waves. And we have 5 here that were all on sale from Third Window Films, which look very nice, lined up together, I have to say. If we can get like a little shot there. So there were loads of these, and obviously I couldn't buy all of them, but I thought I would pick a few that sounded interesting to me for whatever reason. This first one is from a director called Sion Sono, and it is Love Exposure. I believe that my old friend Maticus Tatui from YouTube, formerly known, he recommended this to me, I'm fairly sure, years ago. I have like a list on my like old laptop of recommendations, and I'm sure that he recommended and suggested this film to me, but I never got around to seeing it, probably because it's like 4 hours long. Let's see, 237 minutes, 3 minutes shy of 4 hours. So I thought I'd grab it. It does have a second disc full of special features. There's making of, interviews. There's an hour-long documentary on the making of the film. I think only on DVD though, but still pretty damn cool. So for £6, I thought I would give it a shot. I'm not going to commit to covering this for Asian Cinema Season 2, but I wouldn't rule it out at the same time. Same can be said for this one, which is another Sion Sono film, The Whispering Star. And I did read the blurbs on the back of the Blu-rays to kind of see the story. I'm not going to go into them for you because, you know, I haven't seen the films, but I did check the stories, and there were so many of them for like £6. I thought, oh, but which ones do I get? Because I'm completely blind on all of these. So I read the story of the film and thought, that sounds interesting, that sounds intriguing. And certainly with the next 3, they seem like more quiet dramas, which I really do like, so that was kind of my reasoning for picking up these. But this one also has a feature-length documentary, apparently about the director, Sion Sono, so that's another kind of interesting addition to the kind of the supplements, I think. And this is rated U for scenes of smoking, but yet it's suitable for all ages. So I guess what this film is saying is it's okay for everyone to smoke. And if you've seen any of these films, please let me know what you think of them. You know, obviously without spoiling too much, I'd love to hear some thoughts on some of these films. Now, here we have 3 films from the same director, Takeshi Kitano, who I'm more aware of as an actor, probably most kind of significantly in Battle Royale, but I was aware that he was a director as well. So I have 3 films here from this director, and I love the cover artwork on all of these. And there were more of them as well, which the artwork was calling to me, but you know, I kind of held myself back from buying too much. But the first one here we have is Kiku Jiro. And, you know, again, I can't really say much about these, but really did kind of get drawn in by the stories on the back. And these seem just like really simple kind of quiet dramas, again, which I'm such a fan of. And hopefully they deliver. The next one is A Scene at the Sea. I love the artwork on this one. Just beautiful. I'm turning into Blu-ray Dan. And the next one is Kids Return. So out of all the ones they had, these 3 were the ones that I really gravitated to the most. Not in terms of the artwork, but in terms of the actual stories themselves. And there's an audio commentary by a film scholar, which I'll probably never listen to, but there's also a making of on a few of these. So they seem to have decent special features as well. Now, we're getting into 4 big box sets here. Well, not big, but, you know, fairly, for me, these are 4 big kind of Blu-ray box sets for 4 very different reasons. So the first one, we'll kind of get all the Asian films out of the way. This is the new release from the BFI of Flesh and Blood, the cinema of Hirokazu Koreeda, one of my favorite directors now. And the interesting thing about this is a year ago, and even probably to you, who, if you're someone who follows my channel regularly, you'll never have heard me talk about a Koreeda film. Yet he's one of my favorite filmmakers, because I've been doing these Asian Cinema Season 2 videos for like, about a year now. And one of the directors I dove into was Koreeda. Actually, no, that's a lie, because the first Koreeda film that I saw was After the Storm, which I reviewed in the original Asian Cinema Season in 2017, which I really enjoyed, but I didn't love. But I decided that would kind of push me to watch more of his films, and so I now have many reviews of his films coming up on the channel, so you'll be seeing me talk about the films Still Walking, Our Little Sister, I Wish, Like Father, Like Son, and probably some of the films in this box set as well, which includes Maborosi, Afterlife, Nobody Knows, and Still Walking. So we got 4 films from the director here. These are kind of his earlier movies, I suppose, and films that I'm unfamiliar with, except for Still Walking, which I've already seen. Really nice kind of just profile shots of some of the characters from the films on these cases. Wish they were clear cases, because apparently that denotes better quality. I don't know. I love my clear cases on releases, but this also has a nice booklet, which is like a 100-page booklet, I think, 72-page booklet. They couldn't squeeze in those extra 28 pages there, could they? Not. It looks like a really nice booklet. I haven't really read it or anything, but these booklets are always put together really nicely, and I'm sure I'll read it once I've watched all of the films. There are some really good extras on this as well, at least from the potential of reading them all on the back. There's so many of them. So we have like audio commentaries, I think, from film scholars and so on. Nothing from the director himself, but also you get a lot of stuff from the director. There's loads of kind of recorded interviews from the BFI and things like that, and behind the scenes footage on some of the movies. So they've absolutely jam-packed this release. I'm so happy to have it in my collection now and to get to some of these films and talk about them, hopefully, with Asian Cinema Season 2. The box set did get a little dinged up. I thought I would order it with Prime, and they sent it in a fucking jiffy bag, which is just like, what the fuck? So the corners are kind of crumpled, which is really disappointing, but it is what it is. That's that, and I would say that Koreeda is probably one of my favorite filmmakers working today. And who knows, by the time I finish those films in the box set, might be one of my favorite filmmakers overall. Now, the next one is... Actually, I'm going to leave this till the end, because it's a really special, personal film to me, and I'm really excited to have it in my collection. The next two mean nothing to me, but they were great deals. So these 2 box sets went up on... well, they didn't go up, they were on Blu-ray.com. At the top of the page, I was browsing at like midnight, and on the top of the page, I had these 2 box sets at ridiculously cheap prices on Amazon, and I thought, hang on, that can't be right. So I went on Amazon. Sure enough, there they were at these stupid prices, so I put in an order for them, and very quickly they started taking the prices down. They cancelled most people's orders of these because it was a pricing error, but I guess because I had Prime at the time, they sent them out just before they realized, and so I managed to get these at a really good price. Now, the smart thing to do would be to sell these on and make some money, but I would want to kind of watch these at some point. So I'm going to totally, completely transparent. I'm not going to get to these box sets at any point in the next probably year or two. But at some point I will. So it isn't a completely kind of frivolous purchase, but at the same time it was so cheap. And I worked out the price that they are now. I saved about £60. So the 2 box sets I'm talking about are the Essential Collection, JeanLuc Godard, which has 5 films from the French director. And the second one is Jean-Pierre Melville. And this has 6 films, I believe. So 2 Studio Canal box sets just loaded with French films and special features and booklets and so on. I'm not going to try and pronounce any of the film titles because I just can't. This one has Breathless, which I already own in a separate release, but this was £3.50. £3.50. And this was, I think, £5. Again, it is a sickness, it is a condition, but I couldn't pass these up. All that wonderful glare. So, yeah, I do love director collections. So this was something that, can go nicely in my director collection section, but will probably be left untouched and unwatched for quite a while. But, it is what it is. Sometimes you see a deal and you just can't pass it up. But I certainly at no point was considering buying those at any point anytime soon. But I'm happy that I have them now. And with Godard, at least, I've only seen one of his films, I think, which is A Married Woman, which I liked, but there were things about it I didn't like, but it was really intriguing. So, you know, for the future, maybe. You know, I need to see more French films in general, I think. But for now, it's all kind of, I've got Asian cinema on the brain, which ties into this film very nicely. No, it doesn't. This is a real favorite film of mine, a really special film to me, actually. It's a film I grew up watching with my dad, which I can't say that often. You know, there aren't many films that I kind of link to memories with my dad. With my mum, it can go, you know, there's so many films I can talk about that I watched with her growing up because I grew up with my mum. With my dad, not so much, but the times I would see him, we'd watch films, and this is one of the ones that we watched quite a bit, and so I have a really special connection to this film purely based on that connection, but I also love it as a movie. I probably haven't seen it in full for 20 years, but it's, you know, I can't believe this film has gotten a deluxe release like this. It's so exciting. It is The Flight of the Navigator. This is from Second Sight Films, who have just given it a stunning box set release. It's just, I love the artwork. On the inside, there's like interchangeable artwork, so I did flip it out to the original poster artwork there. I just love it. I love this film. It's about a young boy. The hook of this story is fantastic. It's about a young boy who has a younger brother, which is very important, and he's out. I can't even remember how it happens, but he's out playing or something. Maybe he gets chased and he falls over in the woods, and when he wakes up, many years have passed, but he's the same, and his younger brother is now his older brother, and it's just and then there's I won't go into it, but it's such a great kind of family film. I absolutely love it. And not only have Second Sight done a new 4K scan and restoration supervised by the director to make this look the best it has ever looked on home video, they've also secured numerous brand new interviews with the director, with the star of the movie, is it Joey Kramer or Joe Kramer, who plays the kid who apparently has kind of fallen on hard times throughout his kind of adult life, which is really sad to hear, but has now kind of turned it around. Yeah, Joey Kramer, Veronica Cartwright, the actor who plays the brother, you know, one of the special effects people, you know, there's the original audio commentary. They've just jam-packed this. There's a huge booklet with storyboards from the film. It's like a deluxe Criterion release for a film that would never get into the Criterion collection, so I'm just so happy to own this. And I have another memory tied to it too, at my dad's wedding a few years ago in Greece. I think I brought the DVD, or my brother had the DVD, and I think my brother would have been about 7 at the time, and so we watched it together a couple of times, like in the hotel at night, and so I have kind of a special memory of watching it with him now too, so it's just kind of a nice kind of family thing, and I'm really intrigued to see if this holds up. I might watch this in 24-hour movie marathon 9 and kind of show it to Connie. That'd be really exciting, because one thing I've really loved in the 24-hour movie marathons is me and Connie showing each other films from our childhood that we grew up with that the other person hasn't seen. Like, she showed me Karate Kid, which is now one of my favorite films of all time. She showed me Crocodile Dundee, so on and so forth. So maybe this will kind of, I don't know, I'm not sure if Connie would enjoy it, but maybe she would. But I love this film, I love this release, and that is pretty much it. And yes, of course, I do have Groundhog Day twice. See, you thought I left that mistake in, didn't you? Yeah, that's how good of an actor I am. No, it was a bit. I have Groundhog Day twice now, and the case just snapped or clasped together. So this is my original Groundhog Day Blu-ray. I love this film. It is one of my favorite films ever. I think it's one of the best films I've ever seen as well. I'm a huge fan of this. And every year on Christmas Eve at midnight, I put this on and start wrapping presents. And if I still haven't finished wrapping the presents by, 1:45 in the morning, then I let the Blu-ray play all over again until I'm done. But the past few years, I've had to download the film because the disc is gone. It just ceases to exist. I've looked everywhere. So this is effectively worthless. I can tear this slipcover up, and now I have a nice new shiny edition with the disc, the movie, the most important part, of course. I don't know where it is. Now that I've bought it again, it's probably going to resurface instantly. But I was glad that they still had this with the slipcover and everything, because it's a really nice Blu-ray. And just had to kind of repurchase it because if there's a film I need, it's Groundhog Day. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Leave your thoughts down below on anything I've talked about. I hope you look forward to more of the films that are covered in videos in Asian Cinema Season 2. I think I've already said thank you for watching. I'm out of breath now, talking about films for far too long. So, actually, no, talking about Blu-rays for far too long. I haven't really talked about many of the films. One thing I can say, actually, just to kind of give you a little bit more substance, because it's mainly been stuff I haven't seen. The film in this, Still Walking, is an absolute masterpiece. Worth the price of admission alone. Still Walking is an incredible film about a man who goes home to see his mother and father for this kind of annual yearly get-together, which I won't spoil the reason of. And it's just a day in the life of this family and kind of the friction between them, and you know, that kind of familiarity you have with your family and the stress that sometimes comes from fractured relationships within the family. And it's just a beautiful, again, quiet drama, which I love. And just, oh man, it moved me to tears by the end, and you will be seeing my full review of it coming very, very soon. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
He's alright by me. Apart from the fact he throws cans of Carlin into a tree. Yeah, he's really cool. Yeah, he's really cool. But he's not quite as cool as you.